Jake Paul's world just crumbled to pieces after he got himself arrested, and honestly, it's like watching the ultimate fall from grace. All that hype, all those years of building a brand as the loudest, most outrageous YouTuber and wannabe boxing champ, it's all gone up in smoke with one arrest. And we're not talking about some minor mishap like speeding or getting into a petty fight. Nope, Jake's got some serious charges that could keep him locked up with no bail in sight. His darkest secrets have been yanked into the public eye, and now everything is spiraling out of control. But the worst part? Nobody's shedding a tear for him. The sympathy meter is stuck at zero. And you know what's even crazier? The cause of Jake Paul's arrest isn't some random scandal. No, it all ties back to that infamous press conference on August 18th. Remember that day? The one at the Jacob Javits Center in New York City, where everyone thought it would be just another over-the-top hype fest for his big fight with Mike Tyson? Well, it quickly turned into a circus. From the moment Jake swaggered onto that stage, something was off. Jake's always been the king of trash talk, but this time he went too far. He thought it'd be a brilliant idea to take a jab at Tyson's illness. Yep, you heard that right. Jake stared Tyson down and actually had the nerve to mock him, saying,
"You had to go on your little menopause break and postpone the fight, so yeah. What about that, dog? I was ready before. You needed a little break. Your tummy hurt? Your tummy..."
The entire room went dead silent, as if everyone was collectively holding their breath, trying to process the train wreck they'd just witnessed. Even Jake's die-hard fans were probably thinking, "Dude, you didn't just say that, did you?" But Jake wasn't done digging his own grave. He doubled down with his signature arrogance, puffed out his chest, and boldly declared,
"I'm here to make $40 million and knock out a legend. I don't give a fuck about anything else." And he's the one that wanted it to be a pro fight, so he's gonna get his ass knocked out real.
Forget about respect, honor, or even the sport itself. Jake made it crystal clear that he was only in it for the money. And your poor Tyson is just another pawn in Jake's never-ending quest for cash and fame. And let's not kid ourselves, Jake's never really been about improving his skills or learning from a legend like Tyson. It's always been about staying in the spotlight, keeping the buzz alive, and feeding his ego. Meanwhile, Tyson was dealing with real health issues, ulcers for crying out loud. He could have easily backed out of the fight, but instead he just took a brief pause, determined to face Jake when he was back at full strength.
Correct. Jake Paul versus Mike Tyson. Jake Paul KOs Mike Tyson. I'm not here to do shit besides make a bag.
But for Jake? Nah, he wasn't interested in getting better in the ring. Remember when he challenged Mike Perry to a fight? That wasn't about growth or improvement. It was just another ploy to keep his name in the headlines. Jake Paul's rise in the boxing world has been nothing short of a soap opera, full of drama and controversies that make you question if any of it's even real. Sure, his bravado and massive social media following have kept him relevant, but let's not ignore the whispers. No, scratch that. The outright shouts from fans and boxing experts who've called out the sketchiness of his victories, especially those oh-so-convenient TKOs that have everyone rolling their eyes and wondering if Jake's wins are as legit as he claims. That's why Tyson said,
"Be in good shape because your health depends on it."
Hey, you're the one that wanted 8 2-minute rounds. You want to make it 10-3?
In the world of professional boxing, where every punch can be the difference between glory and defeat, the referee's role is the ultimate authority. But when it comes to Jake Paul's victories, those refs have had people raising their eyebrows more than once. Take his fight with Tyron Woodley on August 29, 2021, for example. It ended in a TKO, but it felt more like a magic trick than a legit boxing match. Woodley, known for being one of the toughest guys out there, suddenly found the fight stopped in his tracks. The whole thing felt suspiciously like it was choreographed to keep Jake's face from meeting the canvas. And then there's that bizarre spectacle against Ben Askren on April 17, 2021. Another TKO, another round of what just happened? Askren, a former MMA champion, barely hit the floor before the ref swooped in to call the fight. It was like watching a ref put training wheels on Jake's career, making sure he stayed upright no matter what. Fans and critics alike were left questioning whether these wins were truly earned or if they were just part of a larger scheme to protect a rising star with shaky credentials. This isn't just a small cloud hanging over Jake's career. It's more like a looming storm that threatens to rain on every parade he tries to throw. And Mike Tyson, the man who's seen and done it all, wasn't about to let this slide. So when Tyson announced the knockout-only rule for their upcoming clash, it wasn't just a tweak, it was a challenge. Tyson was saying, "Let's see what you're really made of. No shortcuts, no handouts." But Jake, let's just say he wasn't too thrilled. The crowd erupted with excitement when Tyson dropped this bombshell, cheering for a real fight, not another questionable victory. And Jake, he totally lost it. He grabbed the mic and unleashed a tirade that had nothing to do with boxing and everything to do with his fragile ego.
Shut the fuck up, New York. Hey, boo yourselves. Boo yourselves, New York. Hey, New York, New York, New York, you're just like Mike Tyson. You were good 20 years ago. Fuck you, New York. Fuck you. Dumbass Democratic City.
This wasn't just an outburst. It was a meltdown that showed just how rattled he was. The idea of fighting under Tyson's rules, where there was no room for the usual shenanigans, had him panicking. His usual swagger was gone, replaced by a desperate attempt to regain control in a situation that was slipping through his fingers. But what made it worse was how Jake had talked about such a big game before. During the negotiations, he was all about fighting on Tyson's terms, making bold claims about stepping up to the challenge. But now, faced with the reality of those terms, he was backpedaling faster than anyone could have imagined. The bravado was gone, and all that was left was a guy desperately trying to wiggle out of a fight he clearly wasn't prepared for.
Hello? Jesus. This is...
The charges were for breaching contract and potential fraud, all tangled up in the legal web Mike Tyson's team had spun. The arrest was swift, completely out of the blue, leaving Jake, and pretty much everyone else, stunned. One minute he's a carefree surfer dude, the next he's being hauled off, looking less like the brash YouTuber-turned-boxer we're used to, and more like a kid caught with his hand in the cookie jar. And if you thought that was the end of it, think again. The whole thing took a turn for the legendary when Mike Tyson sat down on Logan Paul's podcast and got asked why he was going after Jake so hard. Now, Tyson's not the kind of guy to mince words, and he didn't disappoint. He laid it all out, making it crystal clear that this wasn't just about some contract dispute. No, this was personal. This was about respect, about sticking to your word, and about the kind of integrity that's built Tyson's reputation both in and out of the ring. Tyson's never been one to back down from a fight or let anyone get away with disrespect. But here's the thing. When Jake disrespected him at that press conference and then tried to worm his way out of their deal, Tyson didn't go off the rails. He didn't let the old fiery Tyson take over. And why? Because Tyson's learned a thing or two over the years about keeping his cool, even when every instinct is telling him to throw hands. On the podcast, Tyson put it in his own no-nonsense style. "I'm a straightforward person," he said, his voice carrying the weight of 1,000 battles. Jake's trash talk? It didn't faze him. Tyson's been through hell and back. There's nothing Jake Paul could say that would even make him blink. But what really got under his skin was Jake's blatant disregard for their agreement. For Tyson, this wasn't just about boxing. It was about being a man of your word. And in Tyson's world, your word is everything. Now Tyson could have easily let his temper flare. We all know what happens when Mike Tyson gets mad. But instead of letting loose, Tyson chose a different path. Why? Because he knows where that kind of anger leads.
Learn from prior experience. When that tough guy Mike Tyson comes out, when it's not necessary to come out, I'm always in handcuffs. So I'm very careful when that guy comes.
Tyson admitted, referencing that side of him that used to settle disputes with his fists. No questions asked. That's the Tyson who ruled the ring, the one who didn't take any nonsense. But that's also Tyson who's well aware that flying off the handle has landed him in hot water more times than he can count. He even confessed.
Drink, get ready to get in a fight, I break out in handcuffs. But
it's a stark reminder of just how fine the line is for Tyson between staying in control and letting things spiral out. He's lived a life where one wrong move could send everything crashing down. So when Jake started acting up, Tyson made a deliberate choice. This wasn't just about keeping Jake in check, it was about keeping his own demons at bay. Tyson's decision to handle things legally was his way of showing that he's learned from the past, that he's not going to let Jake Paul or anyone else drag him back into the chaos he's fought so hard to escape. It was a powerful move, sure, but more than that, it was a testament to the man Tyson has become. A fighter who's learned that sometimes the biggest battles are the ones you fight within yourself.